big g'day and welcome to the 2013 Riddle District Football Netball League web TV show previewing round 7 this week. My name's Andy, excited to be with you again this week here with Shawnee, and pumped up, mates. You're walking on sunshine, three leagues, and you've got 6 wins under the belt. Just, no ones in the losses column this week,
mate. Hard not to be pumped up, I should say. Of course, at this time, interleague time of year. Of course, you're right. The 3 leagues that we look after under the AFL Goldfields banner all won senior football and senior netball in the WorkSafe AFL Country Championships on the weekend. So it's been a pretty good week. It's been a relatively stress-free week coming down from above with all the wins.
They tell me you've been walking around with a strap like John Travolta from Friday Night Lights or whatever, the Friday Night Fever or Saturday Night Fever, whichever it is, you've got the strut. But we've got a very special guest.
It's got a bit of strut about him as well.
Yeah, exactly. He was strutting himself beautifully out at Tatura Park, just enjoying the great atmosphere. Dan Paproth from the Weekly Newspapers. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. It's good to be here, and it was great to get out to Tatura Park on the weekend to watch the Riddle League just have a big wins, not only in the footy but also in the netball as well, and junior netball and junior footy. It was a great afternoon.
Pretty flawless day at the office, I think, mate.
It certainly was, yeah.
We'll have a look at the results, of course, from Saturday's games. We'll start, of course, with the senior football results up on screen at the moment. The RDFL 16-20-116, defeating Kyabram and District 5-9-39. Goals for the RDFL, Jimmy Rice kicked 4 goals, 2 each to Dawson and Welsh. Fair few singles there as well on a good day for the RDFL. Bailey, the only multiple goal kicker for the KDFL with 2 goals. Best for the Riddle District Footy League, James Wright's far and away the best player from all reports. He got the AFL Vic Country Medal. He got the Hanging Rock Player of the Day from Highlands FM as well and had an absolutely fantastic day. As did Nathan Richardson, Matty Samet, Dan Gregory, Ryan and Welsh, the best players for the RDFL. For the KDFNL, Horsburgh, Sanderson, Trevina, Sarley, Connolly and Breen. Boys, you were both there. Tell us about this one. It was a game where, I suppose, Kyabram didn't kick that well in the first quarter. Riddle, of course, 1 goal 6 in the first quarter, but after that just took the game away from the KDFL.
I don't know how you saw it, mate, but I think Kyabram really jumped out of the blocks. They kicked the first 2 goals of the game, looked a little bit dangerous there. Nice to see their captain jumping on the board there in Paul Arant. Kicked the goal from about 50 metres out, sort of set the tempo a little bit, but mate, as they're down there, I think McKay there for Kyabram had the old mullet, Tex Walker, did a little bit of damage early, but the RDFL just seemed to get going there once they started getting the ball in the forward line.
They certainly did. He was one of the players who stood out for Kyabram early, but I think sort of as the quarter went on, the players sort of got to know each other a little bit better. They sort of worked their way into the quarter, wasted a lot of opportunities in that first quarter in front of goal, as 1 goal 6 suggests. But I think, towards the end of the quarter, they just looked the better side to me. Particularly going forward, they had so many options up forward, so many tall players. Matt Powell was swapping Jamie Cuff and Lee Fisherton between ruck and forward. Cameron Dawson was presenting well, Matty Kroll. So they just had so many options.
I think it was a disadvantage though with Kyabram there. Riddle wasted a lot of opportunities, but their full back Sully just kept bombing the ball long with that big raking left foot. Got a lot of meterage there, Shawnee. Unfortunately, kept going to the same bloke, Big Fisherton, and he knocked the ball to ground and it went straight back in there again. I think there was one occasion there where they sort of settled, they chipped it around, they ended up going coast to coast and getting a score out of it. So a bit disappointing there from Kyabram's point of view. They didn't really get to change that mentality for the second quarter because RDFNL had their kicking boots on.
Yeah, they certainly did. They came out in the second quarter and just blew it away. The rare times that the ball went into Kyabram's half, they were met with the likes of Dan Gregory, who was obviously fullback of the year last year, and the captain John Ryan, and they were just sensational. They barely lost the contest between them throughout the day. Blokes in the middle like James Wright and Nathan Richardson, Matty Samet was terrific. They started getting on top, winning the ball. And when they went forward, they didn't waste as many opportunities this time, and with the amount of opportunities they had, it was only a matter of time before they got significantly in front on the scoreboard.
Well, I think, Shawnee, one of the exciting things you'd be pleased to know about at the end of the day is we sort of look at the first half. We did have one noticeable omission from the team, that was Lee Brennan, but that opened up the door for Alex Desmond to come in the team. The pleasing part is that there were 11 clubs that submitted players for nomination, and with Desmond's inclusion, it meant that they got 100% success rate in that department. It speaks volumes of the level of talent in this competition.
Oh, it certainly does. And look, it was one of the things that, I suppose, going in, a couple of us were a little bit concerned about how that forward line would function with, of course, Barry Hall unavailable, Matthew Davidson unavailable through work commitments, Brennan pulling out late, and Adam Fenton not selected in the final team as well. So it was really good to see guys like Cameron Dawson really standing up and playing a good role on Saturday, Dan.
It really was. And Cameron Dawson, I mean, he only finished with 2 goals, but he presented really well afternoon. He would have had, several assists to go along with that. James Wright was terrific, and Welsh as well. And as you can see from the goal kickers, there were plenty of midfielders that they got forward and kicked goals as well. So they just had so many options, and had they kicked a bit straighter, the margin would have been a lot bigger.
Yeah, the game was basically done and dusted really in many ways by three-quarter time. Yendi, it was a 5-2 third quarter for the RDFL and really put Coburn to the sword in that quarter. Did it feel like the guys, that again, a 6-1 last quarter, so they didn't take the foot off the pedal at all?
No, they really kept up the intensity, which was exciting, and I feel that as a supporter, even as a radio caller on the day, you couldn't help but feel the excitement all the way through. It was nice to see a lot of these guys who are competing against each other on Saturdays to join forces together. When you've got guys like Samet, Ty Cuff and Brad Mitchell, and Matty Samet sort of linking through the middle with a chain of handballs from half back to half forward. I think that's really pleasing to see, and I think just it further enhances the rivalry there, Dan, with what we're seeing with these great quality midfielders able to join forces.
Yeah, it was terrific, and from what I saw, they all gelled fantastically well. When the times that I spoke to Matty Powell leading up to the game, he said that the players were gelling well. And you can see that, and he gave them the message. I went down there at 3/4 time, and he said, we don't want to, sort of rest on our laurels and take the foot off the throat here. So they, went forward again and just came away with what was a very impressive win at the end of the day.
To win by 77 points was a great character and great persistence by the boys. Do we know what's going to happen there, Shawnee?
I'm waiting for AFL Victoria to announce the next. They'll do it within the next couple of weeks. They'll announce the 2014 fixture. At the top end of the draw, it's pretty well straight up. You know who's playing who, but sometimes with the jostling for positions down lower in the draw, down about, because I think this will move Riddle up to the 28 v 29 game from memory. It's just there's a little bit of jostling to do. It's not so much a case of whoever loses 26-27 game comes down and that kind of thing. So we'll just wait and see exactly what AFL Victoria Country come out with, and once we've done that, we'll put it up on the website and we'll let everybody know where and when the Riddle District Football Netball League Senior Interleague is headed for 2014.
Simply sensational, mate. Well, it was a great experience out there up at Chachura Park. And later on the show, we're going to have a look at the netball as well, and then recap the results of the other games up there today. But coming up next, mate, you did have a chat to a bit of a royalty superstar who's down here on Monday, launching a very special program. What was that, just to give a bit of a...
had a chat with, of course, Danny Frawley, St Kilda team of the Century fullback and current media personality, who, in his guise as the Chief Executive Officer of the AFL Coach Association, came down to launch the off-field wingman program in both the Ballarat Football League and the Riddle District Football Netball League. So let's see what Spud had to say. Welcome back to the Footy Show here this week with, of course, a man that needs no introduction, Danny Frawley, who is here today in the guise of the CEO of the AFL Coach Association. Danny, welcome to the show, firstly.
Great to be here.
Now, we're speaking today, of course, about launching the AFL Coach Association Wingman Award. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, with the Justice Department. Basically, we started last year. We got a really good uptake from a lot of leagues, the 17 major leagues around Country Victoria and Metro Victoria. And basically what it is, it's recognising someone at your club that's really responsible. It's basically taking over from the best clubman.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be a male. It could be, football, netball club. It could be someone that doesn't have to be the best player. We had a great intake last year. So each league, for example, the Riddell and Boyd Footy leagues, there'll be a winner. Nominated by the clubs will go to each CEO of the Boyd Footy League and Riddell Footy League. They'll have the opportunity to win a $250 prize for themselves and $250 worth of footballs. As we know, footballs are hard to come by.
Certainly are.
Then they'll come to the Justice Department and the AFLCA and we'll pick the Victorian Wingman Award, which will be a $1,000 prize for that winner and $1,000 footy gear to their footy club as well. So we think it's a great opportunity for football and netball clubs to get behind a really good message, because as we know, football, netball clubs, we want them to be a safe environment. We want all our people to go there and have a lot of fun. The winner last year, for example, John Parks from Park Orchards in the Eastern Football League. He was a player playing the twos, and there was a dry area for all the families, and there was a few yahoos in that area each week.
It doesn't surprise me at all knowing that area.
Yeah, but anyway, he was pretty responsible. Went over to the guy and said, look, we don't mind you having a couple of frothies, but this is the dry area for families, can you kindly go over there? And there's a little bit of a sort of disagreement, but eventually they got John's number on their back, and they were actually his cheer squad. So we thought that was a great initiative by John. He was the one that won the Wingman Award, and each winner from each league gets invited to our Coaches Awards dinner at the Crown, which is on the Tuesday night of Grand Final week, where we get both Grand Final coaches to come and talk candidly about obviously the game at the MCG that's going to be played about 5 days later.
Yep, so one of the big events of AFL Grand Final.
Yeah, it's one of the big events, and well, John Longmire, for example, didn't go to the Brownlow last year, but he went to our awards night, so on the Tuesday night. So we invite all the award winners there. We invite the presidents of those clubs as well, because we think they play a pretty important role in the community as well. So it's just basically, as I said, a sexy way of recognising the best clubmen at your club. Whether it's a female, male, whatever. As I said, we've got a lot of participants. We had a great uptake last year, and I think we'll have an even greater one this year as well.
So how do clubs go about nominating their man? They just send it through to Wardy?
Yes, well, we want to make them work too hard for Wardy. What we're going to do, we've already got some packs that we've given to clubs. We're actually going to send out a really glossy pack in about another month.
Beautiful. So
all the presidents have to do is send through an email to the Ballarat Footy League or the Riddell Footy League, which Wardy's got both.
Of course.
I'm sure you'll get it, sift through that. Have a wingman winner at Riddell, one at Ballarat. They'll obviously win those prizes. Then it'll go to us sort of late August. And then what also will happen, if we have leagues that are really, and clubs more importantly, have a big uptake, we'll get an AFL coach, whether it's a senior coach or a leading assistant coach, to come and present the league Wingman Award at your awards dinner.
Oh, fantastic!
So that'll be fantastic to get someone like let's think Mick Malthouse or Alistair Clarkson. If not, we can get some really good key assistants like Robert Harvey and Mark Bickley, Darren Crocker, to come to your awards. And I talk a little bit about football, but also present that award as well. So I think that's a great opportunity as well for country clubs and metro clubs to get an AFL identity to their awards night. As you know, they're a great celebration of what's hopefully been a great year for those respective clubs.
No, they are, and it's something that we can look forward to at the Henderson Medal Night for the BFL, and of course the Bowen Ryan Medal Night for the RDFL. Danny, thanks for coming in today. Thanks for outlining that for us.
That's fantastic. The AFL coaches, Alistair Clarkson and Damien Hardwick and Nathan Buckley actually launched it on the Channel 9 Footy Show about a month ago. So,
yeah, I do remember seeing that.
Yeah, they've got right behind it, all the coaches, so they know that they've all come from community footy at some stage, and we know clubs some are struggling, some are going well, but just another way of hopefully the AFL coaches putting their name to community footy.
And it's obviously fantastic. We know from a BFL perspective, Damien Horbury from Redan was last year's local winner, and we got some good press out of that. So it was really good. So Danny, thanks for coming in. We hope that we'll definitely get somebody quality out of the Ballarat and Riddle leagues this year. That, of course, they'll go to the #1 ranking. There's no doubt about that.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, well,
I'm open to bribes. Not really.
No, not really. And mate, Coach Gillis this week spot on. Don't worry about the Chiefs.
No.
Thank you very much, Danny, for all.
Well, welcome back. Great insight there with the great man Spud.
It was. He came out well, and it's a great program to get around. So clubs, when those packs come out to you, don't be shy to nominate your off-field wingman. There's some great prizes on offer.
Yeah, well, to see with Matty Darby from Riddle won it last year.
He did.
So we've got some good form in there, and especially I like the colours that he's wearing. You can never go wrong with red and black with the mighty red sash. Now, looking at the netball on the weekend. A big win over the mighty Kyabram side, 64-27 in the seniors there, boys. So
it was indeed. Very good signs for our team. I suppose a bit of a slow start. They haven't had a lot of training runs, of course, and they were going to have a practice match, a challenge match against the Ballarat Football Netball League that has been postponed. The game's actually being held this Wednesday, June the 5th at Bacchus Marsh Grammar, so look at the website for more details on that one coming up. But once they started hitting their straps, they really ran away with this game. Renee Hulse was fantastic, of course, in goal attack and really calmed everybody down and was one of the catalysts towards getting the team up and going again. But Danny Davidson, of course, the coach of the Romsey The A-grade coach at Romsey was awarded the AFL Victoria Country Medal. She was fantastic throughout the day and a really solid performance by all the girls in the senior squad.
She was coach of the junior team as well, wasn't she?
She was. She was co-coach with Michelle Ricks of the 17 and under team, and a beautiful segue by you there, Yandy, as well, because our 17 and under team won fairly easily as well, 52-22, a good day all round for netball. Ailish McCormack from Rupert's Wood Football Netball Club. The AFL Victoria Country Medal, a fantastic performance in centre court for the RDFL 17 and under team, and some really good signs with the netball. And it'd be remiss of us not to mention the under 18 football result as well, Dan. The RDFL 2018-138 defeating Kyabram District 3-3-21. Kyabram District didn't kick their third goal until the third quarter. Jaden Muscat from Rupert's Wood, the AFL Victoria Country medalist, he kicked 8 big ones on the day. Other good players, Ash Mullane, who was the medalist in the challenge match against the Ballarat Football League, kept his form up, as did Alex Tomsky from Wallen.
Yeah, it was nice to see the Rupert's Wood boys feature very well. I think it was about 7 or 8 in that list. Saw a completely different team, Dan, from what we saw against Ballarat about 10 days before. They ran hard. They kicked the ball long, obviously with Muscat up forward, marking anything and everything that sort of went down his way, but it all started from half back. They ran hard in numbers, and that's the key thing there. Kyabram just didn't have any answers to that. It was a really good polished performance. I got there towards the end of the second quarter and looked at the almighty red text, mate, just while in the car, not driving, of course, and it was nice to see the boys that were 10 goals up, but a very, very much a flawless performance, and I think there was a different feel in the box. That's probably around half time as opposed to the half time the previous week when they were down by 5
Yeah, I
goals.
can imagine we were getting text messages through in Ballarat saying that Riddle were fairly convincing up. I think it was 5 minutes into the second quarter, and the RDFL were 54 points up already. So some really good signs, some early celebrations going around. And did you catch much of the 18s game, Dan?
Oh, I didn't catch a great deal of it, but
Yep.
I had a chat to Chris Wilson
Hollywood, your mate.
earlier in the week, and yeah, he was just full of praise for a great group of young kids and Chris, of course, and just saying once again, it just highlights the immense amount of talent that is coming through the Ritter ranks. So he was very excited.
And I could just sort of get the feeling that there's probably a few players that are currently in the under 18s that didn't get a Guernsey that'll be firing for next year as well. The competition is thriving. They had some great coaches there, obviously, behind the scenes just to get that involved. And it was amazing.
From a league point of view, that's what we want out of the interleague competition, for kids to have fun, really enjoy their time and go back, tell the other blokes within the club that, hey, this is something that you really need to get on board, because then that makes our league stronger, it makes our representative team stronger, and of course the higher we go in the AFL Victoria rankings, the better it is all around, because we get recognised as one of the premier clubs, of course, in the state. As we keep moving up the rankings, it attracts better quality players to the league as well, it attracts better quality recruits, so all the work that you do at under 18 level to prepare the players for the senior footy, it's all going to help in the long run.
And we can't forget the other big key interleague factor that has actually kicked off tonight. We're doing this on Wednesday night. We've got the RDFNL under 15s in action, playing a Boardman reserve. So hopefully they put on a good show.
Yeah, they will indeed. The first round of the AFL Victoria Metro Country Championships, the AFL Victoria Metro Junior Championships, as I try and get that right. Come off Country Championships, now we're into Metro Championships. It's all confusing.
It's a mouthful.
Kicks off tonight, of course. Our under 14s and under 15s in action. Division 1 sides are up against the Essendon District Football League at Burnside Heights. And the Division 2 sides under 14 and under 15 taking place at Boardman Reserve. Their round 2 and round 3 matches will take place on the Queen's birthday weekend as well. I know that there's games being hosted at Diggers Rest and at Romsey during the Queen's birthday weekend. And there's some away games as well. I think I'm headed out to Mitcham on the Queen's birthday Monday to watch our Division 2 teams take on the Eastern Footy League.
Hopefully we give them a nice stitch up. And
I hope so too, because there's some real bragging rights there for me with that one. So.
There's going to be, I think the games at Diggers Rest are going to be on the Saturday afternoon,
yes,
and over at Romsey on the Monday. But here's a question for you, mate. Why no games on the Sunday, given that us footy fans, we love seeing the future?
We do.
Why can't we go out and see the games on Sunday and move the games from Saturday? Why can't we do that? Because obviously we've got footy commitments on the Saturday.
Correct, AFL Victoria policies, and you'll find that most of the Metropolitan Leagues don't actually play on the Queen's birthday long weekend, so it gives the kids a chance to play on Saturdays. They've got club footy on Sundays as well, so they don't want to clash with other junior fixtures in the area. Junior grounds may be unavailable, where you get more senior grounds available on these bye weekends, so I suppose that's why they're playing Saturdays instead of Sundays.
Certainly very interesting insight there. Bit disappointed though. I was looking forward to get, but that's footy.
It's all right. I'll write to Anthony Stangett's AFL Victoria, and when he does his fixturing next year, I'll say that there's this one bloke who wants the games on Sunday, so we've got to move heaven and earth to make that happen for him.
Exactly. We've got to look after the footy fanatics out there. Speaking of footy fanatics, right after this break, we're going to be previewing the big round 7 action. Of course, it is the Indigenous and multicultural round in the region. Right after this.
Welcome back to the RDFL Footy Show. This week we're here on location at Melton Toyota with, I think, one of the oldest footies in history. This is probably one that you kicked when you were playing around, of course. With me is the great Nabby, Brian McNabb from Melton Toyota and RDFL legend. Welcome to the Footy Show, mate.
Thanks very much, mate.
This is one of the ones that you used to kick around, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it must have been. It does look a bit old there, but anyway.
Bit old.
Yeah, I think it was in the in the dungeon there somewhere.
We might have to bring a couple of the 2013 Burley style Melton Toyota footies up for you, mate. But good footy season so far. We're 7 rounds in, and I know your tipping's gone south in the last couple of weeks because you're tipping with the heart instead of the head, of course. But how are you finding the season so far?
No, it's interesting. Obviously, work commitments doesn't allow you to see a lot of games, but obviously very close with Centrals as far as where they're going and what they're doing, and with a lot of local people coming through the dealership, obviously it keeps you up to speed as well.
Yep.
You know, guys from Riddle, Scobes and these sorts of guys, and it's been I think a pretty even year, and I think a good year for the league again as far as competition, with a few draw cards, the Barry Hall and people like that putting bumps on seat. I think it's just great for local football.
No, it's definitely going well, and did cast my eye over the Interleague results last week, of course, with the boys taking on representative football again and just dominating, I might say.
Yeah, I think it's very pleasing that, because, you know, people are saying it's good and some people are saying it's bad, obviously. But the good thing that comes out of it is basically mateship. I look back at Ballarat when we used to do it, and even in the RDFL days, guys like Brendan Ryan and these characters, and by chance you bump into them now and it's a friendship for life. It's probably similar to a grand final, but you are talking about the best of the best.
Yes.
Meaning footballers and also people supporting it. So it was great to see, you know, Power back involved. You know, he's a great coach and he's got great thoughts on that sort of standard of football, and obviously he coached extremely well.
Mate, you talk about work commitments keeping away from the footy, which I personally find hard to believe because I know how much work you do here and it's very, very little. But have you seen many games this season?
I'd love to see more games, put it that way. Saturday's obviously the day when we sell cars, and that's where you need it, sort of thing. So I'd love to see a few more games. But, you know, I've got a real soft spot for Centrals at the moment. I just think they're doing the right thing. I say this nicely, a lot of people have said, you know, they weren't wanted. I'd probably say that nicely 4 or 5 years ago. A bit of change in management, bit of change in player structure, and they've certainly turned it around to be a competitive side. Been stiff against Kangaroos, stiff against Romsey as well. You know, 2 kicks, 3 kicks either way. But the good thing, I can see them, you know, just getting better as the year goes on. Like their best football, hopefully is going to be in the second half.
Well, mate, you talk about selling cars. Of course, Melton Toyota, fantastic partners of the RDFL. We're here to help you sell as many cars as possible, mate. So let's go downstairs and let's have a look at Nabby's car of the week for the week, mate.
Great, thanks, Darryl. I'm one of the better salesmen at Melton Toyota, if not in Australia, so I'm very biased. But I thought I'd introduce our lovely car of the week. And as you can see, it's one of our most recent models.
Oops, hang on. Nabby, recent model, mate. This is an absolute vintage. I think I drove one of these when I first got my licence 20 years ago. What are we talking about, new model?
I think you've caught me out, mate. I think you've caught me out. No, a bit of tongue-in-cheek there. It's a lovely old car. What I'd like to refer to this week is our Corolla range. Our Corolla range, we can buy anything in a brand new vehicle from $21,000 upwards. So if anyone's got $21,000 or they require finance, come and see myself regarding a brand new Corolla, and I can assure you of around the $21,000 mark drive away, we'll be in a brand new Corolla, obviously, which I can show you, test drive, and you can be a happy owner for the rest of your natural life.
Mate, talk to us about the features in the Corolla these days. We all want to go and we want the Bluetooth, we want the electric windows and everything like that. What's in the Corolla these days?
Well, as we know, like most Toyotas, you don't miss out on anything. The Bluetooth, certainly electric windows, more importantly the safety aspect of the vehicle being a 5-star rating, curtain airbags, front airbags, knee airbags, fashionable colours, so it is trendy to be in a Toyota Corolla. And as important, get the car serviced here. Your first 6 services, maximum charge per service is $130, known as Service Advantage Plan. So by buying the car, the backup service, and it's a complete parcel, and at Melton Toyota, and obviously through myself, we'd love to offer this particular $21,000 drive-away price for you.
Mate, that's a fantastic deal. So all we have to do is come down here, Melton Toyota, ask for yourself. We'll actually get you doing some work for the change and get in there and sell one of these beautiful new Corollas to the RDFL community.
And please mention the RDFL. As we know, we sponsor the league, the actual umpires itself, and individual sides, so we're here to help as much as you can. So make the effort, come down, say hello, have a beer, have a scotch, or have a coffee, whichever turns you on, and away we go from there.
Nabby, it's been fantastic talking to you, both in front of this beautiful old Corolla. This is an absolutely fantastic piece of machinery. One owner, full service history. Buy this. If you don't want a new one, buy this because it's an absolute beauty. Mate, thanks for joining us this week. Look forward to bringing people down to Melton Toyota.
Even Kenny Freeman would look half decent in a car like that. I'm not sure how far Kenny'd go because he's got very tight pockets.
Very good, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the other program, Dan. We're about to fire up, mate. Round 7's heading up this weekend. We're all getting excited. I know from a journalist point of view, you're just getting the vocals ready to ask the hard-hitting questions and assessing the games. How long have you been in the journalist game for, mate? What is your background?
Well, I have been sort of covering footy since I was probably about 15 or 16, been working full time for about the past 18 months and covering the Riddle District League this season, which has just been an absolute hoot.
Getting around, having a chat to some of the coaches and making a good presence, enjoying it?
Yeah, loving it, and plenty of good characters to be found in the Riddle League, that's for sure.
Magnificent. Well, there'll be plenty of great characters out there this weekend as we look to the first game, the mighty Lancefield Tigers against the Sunbury Kangaroos. Now, these two teams faced off last year. Back when Lancefield were SD Rugling, they copped a good 200-point caning by the other Roos at Eric Boardman Reserve. Then they started to get their groove back, and then the Kangaroos knocked them down a peg again before they finished out the season as wooden spooners. The Tigers have been in some good form there, Dan and Sean. Can they mount a challenge against the reigning premier?
Look, I reckon they'll be in the game for a while. It's the kind of game where you can see Lancefield being in for 2 to 2.5 quarters, but just the strength of the Sunbury Kangaroos, and you'd think that having the week off last week, whilst they did have a fair number of players in the interleague squad, the ones that didn't play, it's just going to be, they'll be better for the rest. And look, when you can bring guys like Lee Fisherton back into the side, who's played 2 games this season, was best on ground in both, and then played the interleague game on the weekend, you can just sense how strong this football club is.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. Lancefield much improved, and I'd be extremely surprised if the margin, was something like that. Definitely. I think Sunbury, they'll be definitely just about the team to beat this year, and I can't see Lancefield causing an upset. And
it'll be one of those 40 to 50 point games, I reckon, Yandy. A game where Sunbury will control it for most of the day, but Lancefield won't be disgraced at all.
Well, that's exactly right. Expect a little bit of rain about as well, just to make things conditions a little bit greasy. It might end up, as you say, bringing that margin down to 40 or 50 points. I think, as we would have seen on the weekend, Dan, as Sunbury Kangaroos do have a few in and under players that wouldn't mind the wet conditions too much, whereas Lancefield, they do have a little bit of youth and they do have a lot of speed, just don't know how that'll favour in terms of getting a good dominance on the game.
Yeah, no, exactly right.
But be mindful of the fact that the last time Lancefield did play at home, they were 6 goals down in the second quarter against the Melton Centrals and got up. Footy is a funny game. The next game we got Rockbank v Broadford. Now Rockbank winless, but guys, would I be fair in saying they might head in this one as favourites?
I don't know so much about favourites, but I reckon they'll win this one. They haven't been far away. They were probably stiff not to beat Wallen just before the break, and they've been leading into it well. They'll be very disappointed to be 0-6 at this stage, but you've just got a feeling that win's not far around the corner. They've got some really good things happening down at Rockbank. Speaking of which, look in this week's copy of the RDFL record. Of course, this isn't it, but just so you know what you're looking for. 4-page colour, special, multicultural and Indigenous round insert this weekend. And we caught up with Robbie Lynch from the Rockbank Football Netball Club, and he recounted basically his footballing story throughout the RDFL. So it's a must-read, $2. It's an absolute steal. Get down there and read it this week on a game where I reckon Rockbank will win.
Yeah, I am going to tip Rockbank as well. I watched them play against Riddle a couple of weeks ago, and while they were beaten, they certainly weren't disgraced. And if they can put together 4 quarters of consistent footy, then yeah.
And that's the trick, putting the 4 quarters together. They haven't really done that this year, and it's been their downfall. we're riding off Broadford, I think, and we might be doing it too early because they've shown some signs this year. And look, I suppose especially in the games that Barry Hall has played in, he's not playing this week, and they've looked like a bit of a different side. But it'd be foolhardy to completely write them off against a side that zips 6, Andy.
Well, I know Broadford have got a couple of injuries. I don't know what the current progress there is on Matty Coomans, but he makes a big difference in that side. I know Hibbert's been doing well on the ruck. They've got a few guys able to step up forward. I think it is... People are writing him off already. Obviously, a few games that Barry Hall's played in, he's kicked goals they've lost. Those are the critical things. I think I'd be on the Rockbank bandwagon, but I'd love to see Broadford get up because I want to see the next tier of players come through and even a forward come up and step up and maybe kick 4 or 5 goals and show us that Broadford are still there.
Oh, they're doing things all right off the field. They're a fantastically run club this year as well, and they just need to get it together on the field. But the next match, I reckon this is just about match of the round. Diggers Rest taking on Melton Centrals at the Diggers Rest Reserve, and it'll be interesting to see this game because both teams are fairly well represented in the interleague squads, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the number 7 for the Melton Centrals does this week. Of course, the big blonde tattooed man in the goal square who may be a little bit upset that he didn't get picked in the final interleague squad and may come out to prove a point this week.
Yeah, and he's right up there on the goal kicking table, so I definitely think he'll be a focal point once again. Look, Melton Centrals have been terrific this year. There been a couple of games in recent times. Obviously, the loss to Lansfield hurt, and they were leading Romsey for most of the day before getting overrun in the last quarter. So they've had some issues with consistency in recent weeks, but look, they've really impressed me this year, and obviously. The inclusion of a player of the calibre like Nathan Richardson's helped a lot as well. And
you speak of consistency, you basically spell it Diggers Rest this year, consistency. They've been fantastic all year, and there's nothing suggesting that they won't win this game.
Well, exactly right. They've only dropped 1 game this year. That was to Riddle back in...
And that was by less than a goal.
Exactly, and but that game could have gone either way. We saw their last hit out. Against Macedon, they really dominated that first term. And one of the comments that I sort of spoke to a number of people about after that game is that there's one thing we know about Diggers Rest is they hit the contest hard, whether it's in the air or at ground level. You're going to get bruised, you're going to get hurt, and I think that's the way Diggers just play really good aggressive footy. We're really seeing them starting to kick big scores now. A few years ago under Glenn Hopkins probably wasn't the case, but Jamie Elliot's got a really good system in there. And Brent Tuckey, he kicked 5 goals the other week, but I think he'd be the first to tell you that it wasn't. He didn't feel like he was playing at his best performance. So the beauty is they've got so many great players around them to sort of go around him and kick plenty of goals and just get plenty of midfield drive. Johnny Ryan, great leadership last week, and he'll be fired up again.
Congratulations to Johnny as well, of course, named the senior interleague captain for the RDFL. Kilmore taking on Riddle this week as well, up at the JJ Clancy Reserve. Hear this one on, of course, not Highlands FM, OKR FM.
Yep,
98.3, or if you're at the ground, 88.1.
Exactly.
That's the frequency. If you're ever at a ground where a radio is being broadcast in the RDFL, and you'll be able to see it, there's a Footy on your radio page in the record every week. Tune your radio to 88.1 because you'll get the live time broadcast from either Highlands FM or OKR FM. They'll have the transmitter at the ground and there'll be no delay. You'll get, as soon as someone marks the ball, you'll hear Yendi calling it, or in his case, Doug McIver talking about something else. Yendi will call it 2 minutes later.
Or Tony just going right off his rocker, getting enthusiastic.
Don't you talk about blokes going right off their rocker.
But back to the game, surely. What a game this is going to be. The Bombers, they've been in great form. The Blues, Dan, didn't have the most flattering performance against the Redbacks a few weeks ago. I know there's a few hiccups going out there behind the scenes over at Kilmore. Heart goes out to Chris Nolan. He wants players to stay. They're leaving. What do you do if you're in his position? It's just it'd be so frustrating as a coach.
It is, and it would be tough. And morale obviously wouldn't be at its highest at the moment, which is unfortunate. But look, they've showed some signs at times this year. A couple of blokes obviously heading down to interleague as well. Coming up against Riddle, I think, look, it's probably going to be a struggle. Riddle have been just about another team who have been one of the best this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they react.
The trick for Kilmore is being competitive in this one. They're not going to win. I'll put that on the table right now, and that's with all respect. All respect to everybody from Kilmore.
Yeah.
This isn't a game they're going to win, but if they go out there, they play the game the right way for 4 quarters and have a dip, then they come away as winners, basically, because what they need to show from here on in is just gradual improvement. Go there and play 4 quarters every week, have a dip, and it'll come. Lansfield did it last year. they're reaping the benefits of it at the moment. That's what Kilmore need to do going forward for the rest of the season.
Exactly. It didn't really seem that long ago when Aaron James was playing for Kilmore, and they were actually winning games like this as well. I think there was a big 5-point result going back just a few years ago. A really good game of football down there at this very venue. So hopefully in the coming years we can see Kilmore start to boost up to that, much like another club that really needs to rebuild from the ground up. Of course, that's Woodend Heskett as they play host to Wallen at the GGO.
Yeah, very interesting game, this one as well. Of course, Wallen, there or thereabouts, they've won a couple of games this year. They haven't really set the world on fire, but as we know, Woodend Heskett haven't opened the account yet, and this is a really good chance for them to do so this weekend, Dan.
Yeah, it is. I haven't seen any of Woodend Heskett so far this year, but fantastic opportunity, and wouldn't we love to see the Hawks get their first win on the board?
No, it'd be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it?
Exactly, especially against the Pies. Love for Wallen's work, but of course being an Essendon supporter, no explanation needed. But a really good chance here for Woodend Heskett, a good young side sort of coming through. They probably need a bit more commitment on the track during the week, just to get that fitness level up and really start to run Wallen off their legs. And I think one player, and because I'm going to stitch him up here, one player who's celebrating his 30th birthday on that very day, he's going to be lining up in the ruck. I think he'll be one of the best players on the ground, of course. Justin Rodder, the big 3-0, he'll be celebrating on that day, and he might be celebrating a good win as well over there.
Yeah, I think it's foolhardy to write Wallen off in this game though, because they've showed against the lower sides on the ladder that they are extremely competitive. You get someone like a Reece Frost up and about who can kick goals up forward. Todd Muldoon can float down between between centre half back and centre half forward and get dangerous. And Justin Collis is probably one of the in-form on ballers in the competition at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly it. They have been competitive this year. They might not be up at the pointy end of the ladder just at the minute, but they've been competitive. And
what they are this year is where Kilmore needs to get to.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Exactly. Well, of course, the final game, and I actually think this is going to be the match of the round. I think this is going to turn a few heads, this one. Rupert's Wood v Romsey, and what a day it's going to be. It's going to be great. Obviously, a little bit of moisture around the air, but I don't think it's going to dampen the spirits of it. Both sides just giving it a genuine hard crack. And if Rupert's Wood get up, or if they get within 10 points, look out, they are coming.
Yeah, I think that as well. Actually, after the last round of games, I received a text message from somebody who was associated with the Broadford Footy Club, who Rupert's Wood played, and said to me, Rupert's Wood will play in the grand final this year. So we've got a bet on that, and I've got a six-pack says that they don't, but that's another story for another day. But they're going fantastically well, Rupert's Wood, and I mean in their first year in the competition, if they can take this scalp on the weekend, Dan, I reckon it'll be the one that makes teams sit up and take note.
Yeah, absolutely. They've already played. Obviously they played Sunbury out there at the start of the year at Eric Bourman. So if they can get this scalp, geez, it'd be huge. And I mean, you look at for example the under-18s interleague game. They've got a heap of young kids coming up as well. So if they're able to get over Romsey here, I think that will make everyone stand up, and they'll be a big force.
There's only one stumbling block though. Romsey are damn good.
They
are really good at the moment. They're playing out of their skins. They've got winners on every line. Matty Davidson had the week off last week through work and can just ease the body after some 8 and 9 goal hauls going into the interleague games. So, geez, I tell you, we talk about Rupert's Wood taking the scalp, but it's not going to be an easy scalp at all if they do.
It's certainly right there. They've got a really good midfield, Romsey, and complemented with an equally good back line. Of course, the ruckman that everyone's talking about in the competition is the big man, Bruce. He's been on fire. And
Quillerate if you read the results. Or
yeah, Dave, whichever one you go. I think it is the father's maiden name he's picked up unofficially on
father's
the record.
maiden name.
Oh,
so father changes it when he gets married now.
It might be a day and age where that might happen.
In fact, I was listening to that on the radio this morning, but that's another story. We're getting off track.
But interesting thing for footy fans here, if your mate gets out of the six-pack, we could very well be seeing a grand final preview as this weekend.
Yes.
Rupert's Wood and Romsey in the 2013 grand final, a week before the 2012 grand final replay.
I was going to say, we are running the tape on this one, of course, because it's video, but we'll play that back at the end of the year where you just called the grand final for this year. Thank you.
We'll see how we go.
I was going to say, I reckon I'm going to get some letter bombs at this very office from Diggers Rest fans, from Riddle fans, from 3 or 4 different clubs saying, what the bloody hell's going on?
So that big call early.
Sunbury Kangaroos fans.
I'm getting behind your mate with the six-pack. I'm not going to put anything on it.
You only want to see me lose my dollars, that's
absolutely.
Why.
Absolutely. I'm surprised that's all you put a bet on.
That's
Maybe
all I
the keys to your house and the Ferrari you've got out the back as well.
Mate, if I had one, I would.
Well, guys, it's been an outstanding week, and just to recap the radio games on the weekend, we've
Yes.
got Kilwell and Riddle over at JJ Clancy. That's on 88.1 FM or 98.3 OKR FM. Highlands FM will be at Rupert's Wood v Romsey. Going to be a great game out there, and great to see a little bit of roundabout as well as what they're predicting. So.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be a big weekend of RDFL action. Which game are you heading to this weekend, Dan?
Look, probably Rupert's Wood and Romsey, or
Beautiful.
perhaps Diggers West Melton Central. Haven't decided yet.
So we'll find out, obviously, next Tuesday in the weekly newspaper, of course.
Absolutely.
Beautiful
Absolutely.
stuff by you.
Magnificent, mate. Thanks for jumping on board again, and hopefully we can get you on very soon, mate. It's great to see another journo just leaving Shawnee a few dollars short of the knowledge there. So we know a little bit. We know a little bit more.
I
than
don't
I don't know about
that.
I don't know about that, but yeah, great to join you guys.
We thank you guys for joining us. We look forward to catching you next week and at the footy this weekend.